Hello again, everybody. Welcome to Pro Football Enterprises. It's a privilege to have all of you on board tonight. Austin is back, man. Shane's been with us every week, but Austin is back. So, Austin, you don't have to tell everybody where you've been, but you can tell us what you've been doing and what show they should be going to listen to after this one.
Yeah, well, been trucking on doing my podcast again, Tricky Takes. We just did a show covering the trade deadline, the MLB trade deadline that just went down, and it was a doozy. We did a top 20 trades plus some honorable mentions because we couldn't stop at just 20. So, go check out that out if you are a baseball fan.
It's a good show. I've already listened to it. Apple, Spotify. Shane here as always. We're always glad to have Shane. Shane, don't tell everybody what you've been doing, but what you're about to do once you get through covering prospects with us, man.
Well, as you said, Ben, you can find me here every Tuesday when we're here. And then tonight, friend of the cast, Herb and Raj, I'll be on their podcast directly after ours. So, discussing some Notre Dame football as they start their college football push for the new season.
Love Herb and Raj. I've spent a lot of time talking with Herb. I don't think I've ever actually talked with Raj unless I've forgotten it. I may have shared one episode and just forgot, but love listening to both of them. Go check them out with Shane this week. All right, let's get to it. All of you watching, thank you so much for watching. We are doing eight more wide receivers tonight for the 26 NFL draft. Two of them are actually watch list guys for the 27 draft. The other six are actually going to be eligible for the 20. I said watch list for the 27 draft. Six guys are actually for the 26 draft. We've already done by the end of tonight. This will be over 50 prospects we've done this summer, fairly in depth as we've gone through them. We haven't rushed our way through them. 50 guys that we've covered, so I'm real proud of that. By the end of the night, 20 of them will be wide receivers, okay? So we really hit the wide receiver class hard. We also have 12 quarterbacks on here. You'll see that at the end of the episode. The playlist will pop up. And we've also done what else did we do? We've done a bunch of stuff. All right. We're all the offensive tackles, the offensive guards, the centers. We've done about 10 of each of those. So it's all here on this channel. You can go check it out after you're done here. We tried to just put them in clusters. They're not necessarily, this is not definitely not a big board of sorts. We'll give you a big board later here in 3 or 4 weeks. We'll try out some kind of a wide receiver big board. Let's get to it. First up, Zechariah Branch at SoCal last year. He is no longer. Now he's at Georgia. And again, if there's a typo, I'm sorry, but that'll happen at some point. Height, 5'10". Weight, 180. Last year, 47 catches for 503 yards, 10.7 yards per catch, and one touchdown through the air. Shane, get us started here on Zechariah Branch.
I mean, for this one, Ben, it's one of those ones where you're really going to go off of what you predict this player to do because uh, not a huge year at USC. Obviously, quarterback problems, defense issues, all sorts of stuff at USC. Zachariah Branch fills a need at Georgia. Um, I mean, when you look at the modern kind of slot, get yourself in the kind of in between zones. That's what Branch is designed for. I think it'll be interested to see with a quarterback change at Georgia that we've discussed before, how that's going to help and hurt him. Um, I'm also interested to see the change from USC to Georgia. That's not a normal switch. You don't normally see the superpower going to another superpower in this way. Um, like I said, even when you look on the film, there's not a ton of negatives that I caught, but I also see like there's opportunities for him to have a blowout year this year, just with increased opportunities and a chance to get the ball in his hands.
Austin, Zachariah Branch.
Yeah, I mean this guy's got just like next level speed and shiftiness. Like usually the shiftiness and the speed are kind of not necessarily so linked together, being able to sort of do one while the other is also going on and maintain speed while moving laterally, but he does that about as well as anybody I've ever seen. He's that level of dynamic athlete and agility and speed. I also think he's pretty explosive in general, pretty good burst off the line and ability to jump and go get it. But all that to say, he has a complete and total lack of strength. You get one hand on him, even a cornerback gets one hand on him and he's going down. Luckily, his agility allows him to not let people touch him at all, and a lot of times, but he really needs to work up that play strength. And then the one other thing that I mentioned that is a pretty big strength of his, I think, is his really soft hands.
Mhm.
Can catch passes that are thrown at him really hard and make it look very nice, easy, soft hands, and that's really helpful when he's running these like jailbreak screens and these quick slants because he's doing a lot of close work close to the line of scrimmage and close to the quarterback, and so when you have someone who is able to catch passes with real soft hands, that can help that a lot and help that transition from being a receiver to then a running back, essentially trying to, go score with their legs.
I'm gonna come back to each of you for a quick final word, and then where you would draft him. Feel free to project ahead if you want. It's like, hey, I think he will be this in 25, so I think I would draft him in a certain spot. But I'll come back to him in just a second. List off my notes. He is small. You see the height, weight, 5'10", 180, so it's not big, and that probably contributes to the going down easy that you mentioned, Austin. He does go down easy. The strength is not going to be a big thing. Explosive, athletic. I saw that. I think he's got an elite vertical jump. I've seen him go up and get some balls. I think his vertical jump is not like an average football player. It's more like a basketball player's would be. I saw that several times. You mentioned the fast. He likes to work in space. He works very well in space. He can just really use that. Lots of jet sweeps and deep crossers. He doesn't run a whole route tree necessarily, but boy, they use him on all the jet sweeps. Austin, you mentioned the screens. He's got this deep crossing route that he does that's very effective. Primarily works out of the slot. And then the final thing I had here was, can the Georgia quarterbacks, Shane, you mentioned the QBs, can they hit him on the vertical routes? Because he's fast enough to just go on a straight go route from the slot, right? And I just didn't see where the SoCal quarterbacks last year were really even trying to hit him on that vertical. So can the Georgia guys do that this year? We'll see. But that's Zechariah Branch. I really, really like him, but I also see what I feel are limitations as starting with that 5'10", 180, and then we'll go from there. But Shane, back to you. Final word from you on him and where you would draft him at.
Well, I think the element that Austin mentioned and you hit on again too, Ben, is the height and weight. Now, the thing is, we've covered other people throughout this that are about the same height and way less, and I would trust them in situations to break a tackle over
Mhm.
Zachariah Branch. So I think some of that is not only the height and weight, I think it's also a mentality on how you attack the ball. I think, as both of you mentioned, great athlete. Austin mentioned, I think, superior hands. He has the ability with the vertical leap to get up and grab the ball, but I think he's also soft. You see it a lot because in a lot of those quick screens, the quarterback, when pressured, zips that ball. I don't see him fumbling a lot of those, not pulling them into his body, using his hands there. But I think unless he demonstrates the ability to break some tackles and take some hits, his draft stock is going to be late round at best because yes, you can produce that speed, but if they're worried that you're going to get hit once and then that speed goes away, before they used to hide those people on special teams, now the special teams world has changed where you're not going to use a guy for just that purpose anymore. So I think he has to have a huge year and take away some of those detractors about his height and weight to see what he can do if he's going to be even, a real kick into the NFL draft.
Shane, it's a great point about the special teams. I meant to read it off. In 23, he was a monster kick returner, punt returner. I mean, he was devastating. And they didn't really use him for that as much. In 24, they gave that, I think, to MaKai Lemon, if I remember right. They just kind of handed most of that to him, but he did have that within him. Austin,
Yeah, I was gonna give a quick comp. I get Jaden Reed vibes from him, slightly smaller Jaden Reed,
Hmm.
and that kind of plays into draft stock. Jaden Reed went in the late second, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, to the Packers. I think it was somewhat mid or late second
That
round.
sounds right. Yeah. Yeah.
I think he's probably going to be a little bit later than that. I've got him as a third round pick. I think he's going to need to show some like tertiary ability, whether
Hmm.
it be like an elite deep ball receiver or some going back to special teams like you had mentioned, but just like a third thing that he can add to his already pretty good two things he does well. And I think that would kind of boost his stock a little bit, but he needs to sort of add more dimensions to his game.
Excellent stuff on Zechariah Branch. I actually thought listening to you guys talk about him that y'all were going to be higher on him in the draft than I was. I'm actually a little higher on him than y'all are. I've got him late second, early third. So I had him not in the top 50, but once you get out of that, somewhere in the top 100 is kind of where I had him, depending on needs and what all such as that. I do like him. He can help a team, but, that's what's going to keep him down from me. Next player, I really enjoyed studying this group of receivers. This was good. Jaden Greathouse from Shane's and Notre Dame, sporting the clover tonight. He is 6'1", 215 pounds. Last year, 42 catches, 592 receiving yards, 14.1 yards per reception, 4 touchdowns, and of course, the entire country saw him blow up during the college football playoffs. He had at least one monster game, maybe two that I remember, but one for sure. Shane, this is your guy, so I'll let you get first talk on him. Jaden Greathouse.
Well, I think, like you said, Ben, the thing for him is he played well in big games. Notre Dame as a receiving factory has not been one for the last couple of years by any stretch of the imagination. I think most people would agree that that's been one of their weaker positions. The last couple of years, they've been more dynamic by moving former running backs into the wide receiver spot. This year, they do have some talent. Greathouse, the thing that he does well is he uses his body. He's going to put himself in position. He hasn't really. This will be one of the years where you're going to see maybe a stronger arm quarterback. The last couple of years, he's had transfer guys that have come in that have been more of a dual threat. Hartman had arm problems. Leonard, you can't knock him. They had a great season last year, but the wide receiver set as a whole was not great. Greatest wide receiver for them was probably a former lacrosse player with Faison. But the thing for Greathouse is that he does everything you're looking for in that like number two receiver in the NFL. I don't think his draft stock is going to be huge because I don't think there's one single trait that's explosive for him when you consider some of the other great wide receivers we've talked about this year already.
Austin.
Yeah, he's a contested catch winner and just loves being physical. He will bring it to you. He will ask you to bring it to him. He will meet you wherever you want to be met, and he's going to try to dominate. And I love that attitude that he takes as a wide receiver. And I think he pairs that well with a really good zone feel and the ability
Mm-hmm.
to attack, 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 and then just sit in a nice soft zone and kind of let the or not let the game play him, but let him play the game and sort of dictate pace at a lot of times. And I think that's a really underrated ability of his. Unfortunately, he just has a lack of speed entirely. It's just not there. Acceleration, speed, shiftiness, it's all just sort of average. But for some reason, he kind of has really natural ball carrying ability. I think he's
Mm-hmm.
pretty crafty after the catch. So I don't know what to think about that. It's a very odd. He's pretty odd in the way he has sort of crafted his game. It's not like too many guys I've seen. Almost Alshon Jeffrey-ish would is kind of
Mm-hmm.
vibes I get from him. I don't have any numbers to back that up, but that's just it. Just reminds me of watching like maybe even late career Alshon Jeffrey, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
We'll come back to y'all both in a second and find out where you're thinking about him in the draft. Here's my notes. Smart, tough, good routes, technical, precise. I see all of that in his game. I can see where he's worked on it. Excellent footwork. I really like the way he handles his feet both before and after the catch. Good hands. Good stop and start and change of direction. Like he's not electric, but he has the ability to stop, start, make guys miss. Austin, you mentioned the crafting the game there. The change of direction. He has that. It's unusual. Again, it's not Barry Sanders electricity by any means, but again, it's something he has worked into his game. He primarily works out of the slot. He's 90% horizontal routes going across the field. You mentioned him settling in the zones as well. But he's got an occasional devastating seam route he runs. Again, he's not super fast, but by the time he's doing all these horizontal routes and settling into zones, every once in a while he just shoots up the seam route and they nail him there. It's a devastating kind of a counter punch, if you will. And he's got a good over the shoulder catch at the boundary. He's not going to win a lot at the boundary necessarily because of his height, but he can do that over shoulder catch at the boundary a lot. I've seen that. The ideal height is not there. It's okay, 6'1". He has speed and burst sometimes, and I think that goes back more to the toughness and the footwork more than the speed. But he just does not have anywhere near the speed that you would be looking for a high draft pick here. And again, Austin mentioned this. The athleticism is just decent. I mean, compared to some of these other guys we're looking at, he just does not have the speed or the athleticism that you're looking for in a true, high round pick here. So I know where I'm starting to look for him at, but we'll get it from y'all first. Shane, any last word on Jaden here, and then where you're looking at drafting possibly?
Well, I think Austin kind of wrapped up his talents in the best way possible. The thing that always popped up to me is if Jaden Greathouse played at another school, especially if you think like if he played at a MAC school, this is a guy that would be like a top end H-back, small school tight end. Like Austin said, he's great in zones. You mentioned he does a lot of horizontal routes, catches the ball well, loves to fight. But at Notre Dame, they try him at wide receiver where he just athletically doesn't necessarily match up to people. Again, like I said, he at best case scenario is a number 2 wide receiver on a great team. I think that makes him real hard for an NFL spot, but he doesn't drop the ball. He fights through. He's going to be one of those, again, I think he's a really late round guy that could end up sticking with a team because he'll just do whatever they ask him to do, and he's not afraid of contact.
Austin.
He's definitely a day 3 guy. Unfortunately, there's just not like one trait that stands out well enough to justify going on either of the first 2 days, unless something drastically changes. I'm thinking about one of my favorite prospects from last year, Alec Aomanor out of Stanford.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Kind of similar in terms of style and profile. I think Iomanor was just way better. Like I think he could have been a first round pick, and Greathouse is kind of just to me down ticks and everything, maybe except for the ability to win contested catches. But yeah, he's just he's a day 3 guy, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
I really like him. There's a place for him on NFL teams, but I've got him at late 3rd, early 4th round is really where I'm really starting to look at him. Again, I'm gonna be careful how I say this. He reminds me of like a big slot receiver, but without the speed. He makes up for some of that with the toughness and the hands and the footwork, but still not enough speed. And then he also reminds me of more like the modern slot tight end, but without the height. So he's got these things he can do, he can offer. And again, if you got some good wide receivers, he could be a quarterback's friend, with his ability to settle in zones and fight for the ball and get extra yardage. But he's not going to be able to carry the day. So, you need some other talent on the team, and then he kind of fits in underneath that and fills in. So that's Jaden Greathouse from Notre Dame. Next up, Elijah Sarratt from Indiana. The Indiana Hoosiers have NFL prospects. How about that, everybody? 6'2", 210. Last year had 53 catches, but for almost 1,000 yards. Not quite. Came in just under. 18.1 yards per catch is creating that, and he had 8 touchdowns. Austin, your turn to go first, man. Tell us about Elijah Sarratt.
see 5 minutes ago. Very similar. Very similar to Greathouse in terms of one of those big physical receivers who, I mean, to be honest, Sarratt's kind of a pedestrian athlete in general, not explosive, not really fast. I think he plays with really good tempo, which is something that just can't be coached a lot of times. Just sort of a feel thing. And I really like the way he attacks the ball even when he's open. Um, the quicker you can get that ball in your hands, the quicker you can, start making guys miss and secure the ball so it can't get knocked out of your hands. And that's one thing he does at a really high level. So that kind of stuff really shows me he has a really high IQ, and is that's going to be something that are probably going to pick up on. And I bet he interviews really well. Again, I don't really know much about him off the field at all, but from what I can see on the field, I think he's a really high IQ player. And also similar to Greathouse, really likes physicality and will punish smaller corners.
Very good, Shane.
So Austin, absolutely. 5 minutes before, almost to the point also where Elijah Sarratt was James Madison Duke before he played at Indiana. So he would be a small school H-back wide receiver type. So I agree with Austin. I think everything we talked about before falls underneath this. The one thing I would say is that he's in a more dynamic passing attack. So at Indiana, you've gotten a chance to see him run some different routes, do some different things. I think, as Austin mentioned, his most dynamic trait is the fact that he doesn't care what you do. He's going to get the ball and he's going to try to outrun you even when he can't. He's going to try to run over the top of you when you get to him, and he's going to try to make as many plays as he possibly can. For Indiana, his personality has been a huge boost to them because Indiana needed more players that believed that they belonged on a true championship level team. Indiana had talent. They just never had people that always believe. Kurt Signetti has been able to come in and change that thought process. And I think, like Austin said, that's only going to help him in the interview process because they're going to say every team that you've been on, you've been a championship caliber team. So tell us what makes that part of your game. The thing that Austin and I hit on in Greathouse, there's no one athletic characteristic that says, man, I got to have that guy. And that hurts you in the NFL because there's so many guys that have, freakish athleticism to where if you don't have one trait that sticks out, it becomes very difficult. And so I think, like Austin mentioned, this is going to be a day 3 guy too. Even with a great season, I still think he's a day 3 guy.
I like Elijah Sarratt. Obviously better than either of you. Probably better than both of you put together. Probably too much. Okay, so if I'm conducting a draft, somebody's probably going to have to talk me down off of Elijah. All right, but let me run through the notes and then we'll kick it back to y'all. He's got some moves, some footwork for a guy his size, 6'2", 210. Matter of fact, you can tell me he was 6'3", I'd buy it. He's surprisingly agile. Okay, he's a little shifty. He's got a little bit of that into him. Not slot receiver-esque or running back-esque, but still, he's got some of that in him. I thought he was fast, but not super fast. He does not have the elite gear at all. He is physical. He works the middle too, so he always starts outside, but he can work the middle. He can do boundary, deep, middle. Anything you need him to do, he can work any part of the field. So I always look for that if I'm looking for a guy high up on the draft board. Where does he work? Does he only have one spot he works, or can he work everywhere? Where Elijah Sarratt can work everywhere effectively. So he can work at the boundary. He can win those deep balls. He can work deep. I'll talk about that more in a second. But he can work the middle too. His main thing over the middle is just this kind of in slot route that the Indiana quarterback last year just nailed time after time after time. I wondered why defense didn't step up and stop it. In the NFL, they will. That's okay. It'll turn into an option route, and Elijah can, work off of that once they start adjusting to it. But he can work all 3 kind of areas of the field that way. He makes tough catches. He does not go down easy. He didn't do a lot against Ohio State or Notre Dame, I noticed, but I didn't mind that because Indiana doesn't have a ton of weapons. Those are 2 good defenses that were able to just lock in on him. So it didn't necessarily bother me, but I did note that he did not do a lot against either Ohio State or Notre Dame. I do think he's fast, faster than Greathouse, but not elite speed. The reason I say he's fast is because I saw him beat multiple teams deep, including Michigan. I can't tell you how many touchdowns I saw go straight deep that he did win for. So there is some speed to work with there, but it is not the top end speed at all. He's very comfortable in traffic. That does not bother him at all. People working around him, through him, it does not bother him at all. He runs good routes. He's got good footwork, and he's got good footwork over at the boundary. So those tough catches, and he's good against zone or man. It didn't seem to matter, man. When they tried to man up on him, not double teams, but single low man, he beat that. He beat the zones. So I just really liked the whole package here, even though y'all are dead on. There's no outstanding athleticism or elite speed gear here, right? But I really liked him. So that's Elijah Sarratt for me. Austin, we started with you. We'll go back to you.
Yeah, I mean, I think you make a lot of great points, Ben. He does have some deep ball wins. I attribute that more to, like I said, tempo, good route running, and then teams
Yeah,
underestimating his speed and him just, winning because he is able to use that against them. That he's not slow out there. He's just not.
right, right.
He's average college receiver speed, which is below average NFL receiver speed. So when we talk about terms that I think he's a really solid uh, college receiver, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with that at all. I don't think it's going to translate when everybody he's playing with is closer to his size, unfortunately.
Shane.
I mean, I stick with what I said before. I think he's going to be a late third day guy. Um, Austin hit on it. When you're middling in the NCAA, that means you're back of the pack in the NFL. And like I said, I think he'll be a great player. I think he'll stick with an NFL team. Um, he'd probably be like a great Rams player where you have
I was
somebody
thinking the
like
same
Sean
thing.
McVay,
Right.
yeah, who would be able to fill you in a spot, play you off as kind of like a tight end, but use you as a wide receiver. But like I said, with some of the guys that we've covered early in this process for wide receivers, you match him up against the Smith, you match him up against the Williams, and there's no matchup. Like it doesn't project. There's never going to be a guy in the NFL that goes, I'm going to take Sarratt over these guys. So that's what holds him to the third day. Like I said, that doesn't mean that he can't play in the NFL, that he's not going to have a big year this year. But compared to the guys that we covered, if I'm saying those guys are going in the first round, there's got to be somebody that's not going to make it in the first round. And I think Sarratt's one of those guys as well as Greathouse.
All right. Well, I had him late first, early second. So y'all talked me off of it. I'll just settle for the second round if I'm the guy making the decision, and y'all can take him in the later rounds if y'all are the ones making it. That's Elijah Sarratt, still at Indiana. A little bit surprising he didn't go somewhere else. So still be there this year. Let's move on. Evan Stewart at Oregon. Evan Stewart's been around a while. I've watched him play for a long time, including Texas A&M. He's 6 foot flat, 175 pounds, 48 catches last year, 613 receiving yards, 12.8 yards per catch, and 5 touchdowns. Austin, we already did Shane first twice, so let's give you a second turn to go first, man.
Well, first of all, I hope he is able to recover from his injury. He just went down and likely to miss the entire season, which is unfortunate with a patellar injury, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so yeah, hopefully he can recover and maybe play some games towards the back half of the season, or it's not as bad as initially thought. But now I'm going to dog on him. I think he's tiny. He 6 foot 175 has to be cooked books. Like just on the field, he looks really, really small.
He does.
And he has this weird thing because I can tell he's fast, and I don't want to disparage the speed because he's fast, but he seems to only, and some people would call this tempo, and I think this is where I've watched enough tape where I think I can tell when it's intentional versus when it's just the brain and the feet not linking up right. When he is like looking at the corner or the safeties, or if he's trying to look for the ball, or when his eyes are up, he's a lot slower. He can put the head down and move, but it's really weird. He looks very average speed if he's not head down, like straight line, hauling butt. And then and this is both before the catch and after the catch. You see some guys who just glide like a gazelle and are able to turn their head and look around and just keep on gliding. For some reason, he doesn't have that. And it's so stark with him because he is so fast when he's like just going for it. Now to some pluses for him. I think he has really good deep ball tracking, like elite top tier deep ball tracking. Acceleration is insane in both the XL and decel. So stop start is absolutely there, and he was used in a lot of different alignments and is very versatile. And even for his smaller size, got some really good reps on the outside, sort of slippery enough to make it work, even though he is undersized. I think the play strength is higher than guys like Zachariah Branch, who we talked about earlier.
Shane.
So I think to Austin's first point, when I look at him on film and you look against some of the defensive backs that he measured up against, I would say he's probably closer to like 5'9" and 160 pounds. Because if you
Yeah.
look at him against some of the corners, I think Austin hit it on the head. I think this is a little bit cooked to help him out in the back end. Um, he's a guy where I watch where I went, he's almost, this term doesn't get used a lot anymore, but where people used to always say that guy's got track speed versus football speed.
Mhm.
As Austin mentioned, he's great on the deep ball, tracks it well. He can decelerate and accelerate, but he is a step off when he goes to make football related moves. When he's in the middle of a break, he doesn't always look smooth. He doesn't always show that same level of speed. Um, I will also say that he is a carbon copy of what Oregon has produced in wide receivers for the last couple of years. Um, with the way that their offense is produced, they're looking to make it as fast as they possibly can. They haven't had great size or height in their last couple of wide receivers that have made it to the NFL draft. As Austin also mentioned, I think that he is not afraid of the physicality, but doesn't always demonstrate it with the way that he could. Um, and Austin mentioned it. It hasn't come out clearly yet on if he's going to be out for the season or not. But this could be one of those ones where if it doesn't affect his speed as much, if you give him another year with Oregon, put some extra weight on, get himself completely healthy again, he might be one that down the road this works out for him better than what it could have.
Great point about the injury. In a second, I'll come back to both of you for where you would have drafted him pre-injury. So, great point there. SpeedX, Oregon uses him more at SpeedX than anything else. Man, they plant this guy on the outside more often than they do anything with him. I mean, my gosh, he does fit different formations. He is versatile, but you just wouldn't expect a guy of this height to be standing out there constantly at the speed X position, but he does. He plays largely outside. He does not typically work the slot for the Oregon Ducks, which again, you look at a guy, and again, he's smaller than what he's listed. So you look at a guy like that, you're like, why did this guy play it outside? But anyway, he does work the middle very well, though, from that spot. He works the middle very well. But really, everything in his game is built off of speed. I mean, that's just it. His whole vert speed changes the way people guard him, which allows him to work over the middle more easily. He's not going to win very many jump balls. He doesn't have that kind of explosive jump, the athleticism that we saw out of some other people. He does vertically stretch defenses. That's something you can use. We've seen it time after time. He'll do that, and he'll make tough catches too. There was even a time, you go back to 23, there was a heavy knock on him that he would struggle in man, which was true, but he worked on that, and he's better against man defense now than he was. But still, at his size, he's just not going to win many physical one-on-ones at the NFL level. It's going to have to be vert speed and crossing routes and jet sweeps if he's there. So that's what that's going to have to be. What else? I think that was really the big things here that I saw. I didn't see a lot of after the catch elusiveness for a guy that small. Not as much as I would have wanted to have seen. I mean, a guy that small I would love to see more cut, running back style stuff after the catch. Just didn't see as much of that as I wanted to see as well. Some of that is the reason he's been around in college for so long. He's been mentioned in past three NFL drafts. Really, I've seen him all over the mocks, and yet he keeps coming back to college. A lot of the things we've mentioned is because of that. Austin.
One last thing I saw on tape that I didn't mention was I think he has good hands, but he lets the ball get into his chest, I think by choice often. And that's something I'd like to see coached out of him, or maybe it's not by choice and he's just the ball just gets on him too quickly and he's able to trap it against the chest. But when he uses the hands, they look good. And then sometimes he just goes for these, just trap it against the chest plate. And I don't know why that is, but that confused me. Unfortunately, he's not draftable. With the injury, especially without the injury, it would be a day three, probably a sixth round pick. But with the injury, he's just not going to be draftable. Maybe he can wait one more year and then come out. But if he is eligible, like I don't know, I guess he might be able to redshirt medically this year and then get another year and then come out.
Maybe.
In
Yeah.
which case, we can revisit. But he's not going to be draftable this year, I don't think.
Shane.
So, like Austin, before even the injury, I had him listed as a priority free agent. Um, I think he'd be a guy you'd bring into your rookie camp. And if he shows that he's not going to catch everything against his chest and he's going to get out there and I can see a fit for him, then I'd pull him in and sign him to a contract. But I think between the switching teams, I don't think he showed greater ability at Texas A&M. I don't think he's demonstrated high end talent or being the number one wide receiver at Oregon. So when those things apply, now you throw the injury on top of it. Like Austin said, I think best case scenario is you take the red shirt, you come back, you work in the weight room, you get yourself a little bit stronger, you hit the jugs machine every single day, and then you can make something on that next year. But I think Austin hit it. There's nothing in the game film that makes me go, this is a guy I got to draft. He's somebody I think I can get after the draft and pay less and find other people who I'd want to fill that position more.
I've got him fifth to seventh round. That was pre-injury. You guys are correct about that with the injury. Let's see if he can pick up a medical red shirt and come back for another season with the Oregon Ducks. Next up, I'm sorry that wasn't supposed to be in there. Let's hold over from another show. We got not one but two guys coming out of Southern California. One is MaKai Lemon. One is Jacoby Lane. Let's cover Lemon first. MaKai Lemon, 5'11", 190. 52 catches last year, 764 yards. Shane, let's go back to you. MaKai Lemon.
So I think MaKai Lemon is kind of one of those guys where you do expect at the 5'11", 190. I would say these are not accelerated numbers for him. I think this year could be a huge year for him. I think he has the ability to kind of fill all sorts of roles for USC. Um, I thought that out of the two of them, he has pretty good hands. Um, I think quarterback play is going to affect both of these guys. Um, Again, it's always hard when you haven't seen them play with a strong quarterback to make some of the judgments on how they are around the ball. Lemon sometimes, Austin talks a lot about tracking, and I'd be interested to hear what his thoughts are on him. There's times in some of the game film where I saw him absolutely lose track of the ball. Now, I don't know if that's because of he expected the quarterback to throw it someplace else, and then he was kind of surprised once he was on the way, or if that's just not a natural feel for him. He's used to already having the ball in his hands. Um, I think athletic wise, he's going to demonstrate those things for you. He's going to play above most DBs he's going to face this year. But I think this year is going to be one of the ones where he's going to have to cement himself as an upper echelon wide receiver. I don't think he's done that quite yet.
Austin, MaKai Lemon.
I really like MaKai Lemon. I think Shane kind of hit it there on the head. I wrote Jack of all trades. I think he can wear many different hats for an offense. And I think he's good at a lot of what he does. I think his speed is unique. I don't think it's going to like time super well in the 40 per se, but I think he's pretty
Hmm.
quick off the line and then it ramps up pretty slow. Like he has trouble getting like first gear is good. I think second and third is he has some trouble, but he's got a fourth gear, and when he gets that ramp up speed, he can get gone, which is really important in being like a kick returner and things like that. As you mentioned, the deep ball, I think he tracks it pretty well. I think there were a lot of uncatchable. I think effort was something
Hmm.
that I didn't like from him. Sometimes he would give up on plays too early. Sometimes, and I think maybe that is a little bit what you're saying of is he would just kind of
Hmm.
recognize a ball as uncatchable and sort of not make the greatest effort to kind of go get it. I think he has fantastic feet, though. I think his ability to stop start is pretty solid for a guy of his size. Because as you mentioned, 5'11", 190, it looks even small maybe to me. Like he plays pretty big, but he's got good feet, really choppy feet when they need to be, and was able to sort of drag and be smooth as well. So
Hmm.
can really do a lot of different things. I think his biggest strength is going to be his versatility.
Hmm.
And unfortunately, that usually doesn't lend a super high draft capital. Usually these type of receivers aren't ones that are ones that are very coveted by teams, but not with a lot of capital. Like these are your Olamide Zacchaeuses of the world, just really solid guys who can do a lot of things for you and be good at maybe a lot of them, okay at a few of them, and not really great at any of them.
Hmm. Excellent. I love everything you're putting out here about MaKai Lemon. I really like him. But again, I don't have him in first round. Let's see. Safety valve, first of all. Boy, it was like the USC quarterbacks last year. There were two of them. They really enjoyed getting the ball to him late, just as a great safety valve. He does other things too, but he was a great safety valve for them, really a friend of the quarterback. Trojans get him the ball in space a lot. They find all kinds of ways to get him the ball in space. He's an absolute zone killer. If you don't man him up, he is going to eat you up. He will find space and he will be open, and then he will get the ball and kill it. He handled kick returns in 24. Again, I mentioned that earlier that Branch was the one that did it in 23, but he's the one that did it in 24. Lots of work in the seam. Honestly, he did a lot of seam work, so very good there. Very good chunk plays. He will eat up a lot of yards quick, but I didn't see elite breakaway speed. So he wasn't able to convert a lot of those plays into touchdowns. You didn't see him going for 60s, but a lot of times you'll see him grab the ball in one of those holes in the zone and turn that to 25, 30 yards quick, man. I mean, very quick. I saw a ton of that while I was watching MaKai Lemon. Runs good routes. I like that. Enjoys working through traffic, both with and without the football. He's very good, both before the catch and after the catch, working his way through traffic. He just really has a great feel for the field out there where everybody's at. He's good versus man, but he's not as good as he is against zone. Good hands. I like the hands. Good footwork. Saw tough catches too. So I liked him. I don't have him in the first round, but Shane, where would you be sort of starting to look at drafting him?
So I think Austin hit with the jack of all trades. I want to say this, and I know that's a little bit of clickbait because once I mention the name, people will be like, I can't even believe he mentions him in the same breath. Let me state, not athletically what I'm speaking about, but USC uses MaKai Lemon like they use Reggie Bush. He's not Reggie Bush athletically. He's not Reggie Bush talent wise, but they
Right.
would give him the ball on the run. They let him on special teams. He's great at a little bit of everything, but he's not outstanding at anything. And that's where Reggie Bush was outstanding in certain things. But I think they do use him more as like a, I see him more as a running back that they turn into a wide receiver because of what he can do and when they want the ball in his hands the most. Um, I mean, he projects probably as a third round guy. If he gets a quarterback, like Austin said, he tended to give up on the ball, but I don't know if that's just sheer like I can't even figure out what the quarterback's doing or why the ball's coming in this direction thing. But like I said, I think he's a third round guy. I think Austin hit it with the jack of all trades. He does a little bit of everything. I don't think any of the things are outstanding. Um, and I think, upper quarterback play will demonstrate his talents more than what it has in the past.
Shane, I like the Reggie Bush comp because obviously athletically it's not the same, but that idea I do when I watch him think running back converted to wide receiver, and I don't know, maybe he was, but that's what it feels like when you watch him. He seems to have that kind of style of running, that kind of style of when he goes out for his routes and stuff. I really like him, but that's what it feels like, and I'm not criticizing that, but that's just these shades and the images that you get. Austin.
Yeah, to me, I have him as a late third type of guy. Again, like I said, just that style of player is just not usually um, highly sought after early in rounds. And he's one of those guys that a lot of teams are going to be hoping gets to them in the fourth, I think, and somebody's gonna jump and swoop in late day three. I think he's gonna have a really solid year this year. Almost 800 yards last year. I think better quarterback play. I think he's going to be close to a 1,000 yard receiver and has a chance to maybe develop a little bit more and become a true weapon. But we'll have to see what he does this year.
Very good stuff on MaKai Lemon. I've got him late second, early third. We'll see which way that goes. If he looks even better this year, then I might late second stick. I don't need him top 40 or 50, though. You guys have already alluded to that. There's just nothing there that he's got height, speed, breaking tackles. There's nothing there that makes me need him top 40 or 50. Still on the same page, same team. Jacoby Lane, 6'4", 195, 43 catches last year for 525 yards. He is also with the Trojans. Austin, let's get you started on Jacoby Lane.
Let's go ahead and rip the Band-Aid off. He's slow. Uh, Pretty draft-like, super long, lanky, and just not a whole lot of speed. But now that we got that Band-Aid ripped off, the dude's got incredible body control, especially for a man of his size, and really solid footwork. And the way he plays, paired with his frame, makes him one of the most QB-friendly receivers in the
Mm-hmm.
nation. And I think the just a super high floor type guy, um, in a different way than Makai Lemon, though. I think he has a lot of red zone uh, talent. Like he's able to go out wide, and you see them throw a lot of just fades to him. But I think he navigates the middle really well in the red zone too, which is it's just tough and works the boundary really well in terms of like short out routes and things like that. So I think his ability to be super QB friendly translates to basically the hardest place to throw the ball, and that is the red zone. So I think he paired with Makai Lemon are going to be a really nice tandem this year. I think Jacoby Lane's lack of speed limits him in certain ways that Lemon isn't limited. Say that 5 times fast. But I do think overall, Jacoby Lane is going to be someone who is able to contribute on the NFL level, I think. I think we're going to see him play on Sundays. I just don't think it's going to be, as a wide receiver one for anybody.
Shane.
So to go with Austin, I wrote red zone, underlined it 3 times. I think player comp, you're talking like a Plaxico Burress, Mike Williams type.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, as Austin said, speed is not a contributing factor in his game at all. I think he does a great job of using his body to go up and get it. He's tall. Austin mentioned the draft thing. He doesn't have a ton of weight behind him, so it's not like he's boxing people out. He does a good job of going to go get it. Um, the Plaxico Burress came across really because, as Austin mentioned, he does do a great job on the inside as a red zone target. The fade is an easy throw for the 6'4" guy, but he does a good job almost in that more tight end zone when you're looking back of the end zone, cross routes, for red zone technique. I'm a little bit lower on him because I think he's a guy that needs another wide receiver to make his talents noticeable. If you don't have a speed guy, if you don't have a guy that you have to cover, I think he's somebody where you can set it up as a zone and not have to put somebody on him, and you can shift your defense to have to cover whoever else is on that team. Um, I think just the height and the ability to catch the ball, he's going to get a shot in the draft. But again, the thing of this night seems to be, they're each of these guys is just a step below that upper echelon wide receiver. But the NFL loves guys that have height and catch the ball. So
Y'all got me scared now, all right? We may not be farther apart on any draft prospect we've covered so far, all right? So I'm sky high on Jacoby Lane, and y'all both got me scared to death now because of the speed factor, okay? So I love it. Let me go through my notes, and then we'll kick it back to each of y'all for final word on Jacoby here. First of all, I did see a lot of the same stuff. Big plays, made a lot of big plays, a lot of big plays. Tough catches, y'all mentioned that. He is physical. He's not just physical. He loves it. He loves contact. Eats it up. He invites it. Is looking for it. Even when he's blocking, he loves nailing people. He's not a great technical blocker, but he just loves nailing people when he's blocking. When he's got the ball, he looks for contact. When he's trying to catch the ball, he loves the contact. This guy was just diehard, absolute physical. Can take contact and hits and still finish plays. I mean, you mentioned he does not have the weight behind him. It did not seem to bother him. I mean, he just absolutely seemed to eat up the contact from everything that I saw. So I really loved that. He wins jump balls more than his share. He can go up and win the jump balls. You already mentioned that. I thought he was athletic. I can't tell you how many tough catches I saw. The insane hands, the circus catches. I mean, just one right after another. There's one insane catch where he's almost half backward, catches the ball one hand at the back of the end zone. I mean, just a ridiculous, insane. But he had several that were like that. Mostly outside production, and you would expect that with his height. But y'all mentioned he works the middle too, and I always look for that. Again, is he just an outside guy, or can he also work the middle? Y'all mentioned that he could work the middle too, and that's where I started to see the speed is that he can work that middle. I didn't see him as being as slow as y'all are seeing him, which maybe I'm wrong on that, but I saw enough speed where I was comfortable. Nothing elite, nothing beat you downfield type stuff, but I just saw enough speed where I was comfortable. Devastating in the red zone. Good gosh, y'all both said that. Absolutely devastating in the red zone. He could improve routes, but in a funny way, I'm not sure he needs to because he's kind of always open. He's winning jump balls. He's a devastating red zone guy. He's physical. They constantly threw him the ball when he was covered. I mean, just all year last year. They just absolutely, nonstop did that. So I really like him. The speed thing, y'all are telling me he's that slow that it's going to be a problem. So I'm worried now. But I had him late first, early second. So I'll move him to the second round. But I do love Jacoby Lane. I'll give it back to y'all, one turn each here. I think Austin, it's your turn to go first or to go next on Lane, and then we'll kick it to our two watch list guys.
He's has a really wide range, I think, in terms of what can happen because if he comes out and has a big year, I think we could see him jump up into like a second round draft pick. But if he, only produces around 5, 6, maybe gets up to around 700 yards, flirts with that, which
Yeah.
is sort of what I think we're expecting. I think we're going to see him as a fourth round pick. Early day 3 would be my sort of expectation for him. But if he's able to go produce really well, that could kind of shine a light on some of the traits he has, and he could, I think, sneak up. But again, super wide range. I would project him early day 3.
Early day 3 from Austin. Shane.
I stick with Austin on this. I think he's an early day 3 guy. As Austin mentioned, if he can produce a huge year, with some of the physical traits in the red zone, somebody will reach up and grab him. He would be one of those guys where, say, if you were a team that had, some early picks in the third round and you thought you could package him up because somebody else might get, engrossed in what he can do, he'd be a move up type of guy. Just based on his frame and not having the speed, he's probably going to get picked up by the Philadelphia Eagles. He's one of those guys where Howie Roseman will see something in him and make a fool of everybody else. But I think Austin hit on it. I think it's an early day 3 guy, really comparable to everybody that we've covered really so far. I think the biggest thing that we've got from tonight is that these guys are the ones that have the ability to have a really low ceiling, and that's why it makes it hard to project them going higher in the draft. The other guys we've covered have just had like some trait that really knocks your socks off, that makes them projectable into the early rounds and early days.
Very good conversation on Jacoby Lane. Keep an eye on him at SoCal this year. We got 2 watch list guys. We're going to hit them quick because they're not available this year. It'll be the 2027 draft before they're even eligible to hop in. So we'll get 1 turn each on each of these guys. Okay. Let's hit Cam Coleman first. He's at Auburn, 6'3", 200. Shane, go ahead and take your only turn on Cam Coleman.
Cam Coleman's a guy I loved watching film on. I also think that we're covering 2 guys on 2 teams that have the ability to have multiple wide receivers that are going to show up this year. Auburn has sneakily gotten some players again to try to battle Alabama, and Clemson's the same way. Cam Coleman, the photo that you have showing right there, Ben, that's the image that sticks with you as Cam Coleman. He's going to go up and go get the ball. He loves it to try to get in the red zone. He's going to try to make plays off of that. Young guy jumping into that wide receiver group at Auburn. You'd love to see if they ever truly got a quarterback that could really demonstrate some of the skills that are needed in the SEC. But he's a guy I'm super high on. I think he has a lot of traits that you're looking for. I thought he had really good hands that last year. And I think the sky's the limit for what he can do with that size and shape when you consider how young he is as well.
Austin, Cam Coleman.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing that jumps off the table is, or off the page, is the length. Dude is tall with long arms. That is never ever going to be a bad thing. It's always going to be a plus. And he is similar to the last guy we talked about, a really good red zone weapon. And so these are 2 very similar beats I've hit with him. Now let's get to where it's different. This guy has true speed and chops going down the field, I think. He has strong hands. And so earlier Herbie talked about soft hands. He has strong hands. And I don't mean that like he has bricks for hands and everything bounces off of him. I mean, when he gets his hands on the football, it is like it's in a vice grip instantly. Like the ball is just instantly locked into his fingers and it's not coming out. And another guy who I would say had strong hands, and again, this is one of those things, I'm comparing him to an all-time great. I'm not comparing him to an
Right.
all-time great. I'm just saying he has this one thing that I'm comparing to on a completely different level of talent. Julio Jones, strong hands, right? So when I
Mm-hmm.
mention strong hands, think Julio Jones. Cam Coleman has strong hands, and because I love soft hands, but when I can say someone has strong hands, that's something that is like a next level of the talent for me. So I think we're gonna have to see him develop his ability to go over the middle of the field. He gets really sloppy to me when running these crossers and basically anything where he has to deal with like a single high safety for some reason. I just don't think he's figured that out yet. Still a young player, so I think he's gonna figure that out, and I think he's gonna be great.
I love Cam Coleman. Here's the notes real quick. Instantly liked what I saw right off the bat. Fast, explosive, tall. Loves to double move to set up his deep route. He's already got that a little bit. Can spot the ball in the air even when it wasn't in the air at the time. He was turning, he can turn around and spot it real quick when it's already right on top of him. I noticed that several times. He's very natural, very flows very easily. I like that. Wins the jump balls, makes really tough catches, runs like a gazelle, can fake the out to run the post. I would love to see him add a reliable short game to increase his production. Austin, you mentioned that, and be more dangerous. He's often open even when they don't throw it to him. I love Cam Coleman. I would draft him in the first round this year. I mean, even knowing that he's young and needs development, which he does. I just really, 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 really love Cam Coleman, and we'll see how high that can go. I don't Jeremiah Smith love him, but I really love Cam Coleman. He's just fantastic to me. TJ Moore from Clemson. This is our final guy of the night on the 27 watch list. He too is listed at 6'3", 200. Austin, let's let you go first on TJ Moore.
We all know how much I love the Clemson wide receiver room this upcoming year,
Yes.
and TJ Moore is a big part of that. He is a smooth mover. You mentioned Gazelle for Coleman. I think Moore is even smoother, even more Gazelle-esque than Coleman to me, and I think he understands leverage really well. He attacks corners' feet and attacks their hips when he needs to, and uses leverage in a way that is wise beyond his years as a young wide receiver, but very, very limited stuff right now. The
Mm-hmm.
Clemson wide receiver room is very talented. They do not need him to do a lot, so they don't ask him to do a lot. And that stems to every part of the game from route tree to release package to alignment. So I need to see him sort of spread his wings. As an athlete on the field, from what I can tell, I think he is going to be very, very good when it's his time to shine. I don't think he's ever going to be the wide receiver one, is what I get a little scared about because Bryant Westco is better
Mm-hmm.
in almost every way.
Shane.
Uh, just like Austin said, I think he's going to battle the Ohio State wide receiver room
Mhm.
issue where your talent is always going to be judged against that guy that came right before you. And when every guy before you is a first round pick, top 15 pick, it's unless you have something that really demonstrates. The one thing that I think Austin hit on that's very important is they did not ask him to do anything last year. Like you're going to be the safety valve. You just kind of sit here. These guys are going to be there. Teams are going to leave you open because right now they don't even know what we have in you because we don't really know what's there. I think this year could be a big year for him because I think Clemson is really going to try to blow people out this year. I think they've decided that this offense is prepared. Quarterback has another year. I think Cade Klubnik is going to be one of the top quarterbacks as well when we talked about it. And he's got targets. So it's going to be hard if you're a team in the ACC to try to cover all those guys. Um, so I think Moore has a chance to get some more targets this year and demonstrate some more plays as well.
All right. I really like TJ Moore. Here's my notes real fast, and we're going to shut this thing down. Fast, fluid. You already mentioned the fluid. He isn't always clearly open. Part of that's just running better routes, better get off will fix that. Again, y'all mentioned he's young. He can work the middle. He can win deep. He can work anywhere on the field that he needs to. But again, they didn't ask him to do a lot of that. They just kind of, he was the third option, maybe the fourth option at times last year. Can work boundary, inside, outside. He can do all of that. He's just got a lot of technical things to work on. He needs to get way better off the line. I thought he was one of the slowest guys off the line out of all the people we talked about. And again, that's probably just young. I mean, this guy is young. Okay, so I'm not trying to rip him here. That's just something I saw. Didn't see many broken tackles. I don't think this is ever going to be a broken tackle kind of a guy. I mean, I know he can step it up a little bit. But that's just not ever going to be his game. Silky smooth. Austin mentioned that. Silky smooth. Oh my gosh. You talk about fluid and smooth. Sneaky burst after the catch. When again, that smooth idea after the catch, you see him take off. I mean, I really like that. Runs a nice slant. He can do some double moves, but again, he wasn't doing it consistently enough for me to be able to rely on that. It's just, oh, hey, he's got that athleticism. He can do that. Can do the tough catches. One thing I didn't like, he goes down awkward a lot. I've never seen a guy go down this awkward this consistently. And again, maybe this is because he's young, but oh my gosh, the way he's a long looking guy already, finished looking guy, the way he goes down on tackles a lot, or sometimes even not a slide, just falls. It's really awkward looking. Every time I wonder if he's going to twist his knee or rip an ACL or something. It looks bad. I hope he can clean that up because it just looks very dangerous. I really liked him. I got him awful close to Wesco, man, and I could be wrong because I like Wesco too. I love both Wesco and Moore. It is two different things there, but I really do like TJ Moore as well, but he'll be coming up. Again, lots of technical things to work on in his game, but you can see the talent, the athleticism there. Okay. I'm gonna give each of y'all one more time. Talk about anything you want to talk about. One of these wide receivers, or tell about your show, and we are gone. Austin.
Yeah, I think this crop of receivers, as we talked about, is sort of that um, like safety blanket, like your mid late round guys who you kind of know what you're getting. We've talked a lot earlier about the guys who also can go late, but are the more explosive, high upside guys. So I think it's really nice to sort of bucket these guys into kind of these categories and see how the puzzle of the draft
Mm-hmm.
fits. And every team it goes it fluctuates. Certain teams are looking for certain things. So I'm really excited for this season. I think if I had to pick one guy to watch this upcoming season, it would be Zechariah Branch for me.
Shane.
Well, I think, like Austin said, the other powerful thing is that it also shows that Austin and I don't just love every player that plays in the NCAA. So we're not saying everybody's going to be a first round pick. There's going to be 1,300 first round picks this year as opposed to the regular season. But I like Austin's pick for Zachariah Branch. Um, the thing for me this year is I think it's going to be wide open. I think there's going to be some big, big offensive numbers. And I would not be surprised if a wide receiver from Texas Tech jumps out this year that we're probably going to have to pay attention to because they spent an awful lot of money in Texas. And I think that the Red Raiders are going to try to blow the doors off some people this year. So I'm interested. I love college football. It's definitely my favorite sport. So happy to look on these guys a little bit down the road and see how close we are once draft season comes around.
It's been a long show, but it needed it. We had 8 guys worth talking about. There were 3 of us talking. So everybody listening, thank you so much. This crop of receivers, I'll say it again, for the 26 NFL draft, I'm still waiting on somebody to make me want them in the top 15. I haven't seen that guy yet. I think it's very deep, though. I think there's a lot of guys that can add to the receiver room depending on what you want, whether it's a small speed guy or a tall red zone option, but that may not be first round guys somewhere in the draft, though. I think there's a lot of guys here that can help out your team. All right, everybody, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time on Pro Football Enterprises. Goodbye.